Okay, good evening. Okay, so we will be covering this environment current affairs for the week 3 part. Okay. So first is from biodiversity and its conservation. Okay, this first topic theme. So we first cover this topic that is related to the project Great Indian Bustard. Great Indian Bustard, what is the IUCN status of this? Critically endangered. Okay, first of all, critically endangered, and we can see from this graph, okay, from this graph how the Great Indian Bustard population has been declining over a period of time. Okay, so we started with 1969. There were more than 1000 such kind of individuals were found in the desert areas. Okay, now until this point in 2020, this is in 2020, we found out that there are less than 150 individuals that are present. Now, IUCN status, when we talk about this status, we are saying that from critically endangered, if the number of individuals further decline, they will be extinct in wild or they will be finally extinct. That means they will be wiped off from the face of the earth, right? So this means that they were at the brink of extinction. Brink of extinction. Okay. One of the irony of their individuals declining in number is the fact that there is a push towards renewable sources of energy. Okay, renewable sources, particularly in the desert areas. Desert areas, grassland ecosystems are something that the Great Indian Bustard will inhabit, and therefore you will find that it requires, those places are much more available for land use and particularly for renewable sources. So if we are going for more amount of renewable sources, there are installation of transmission lines. And this came up as a case in the Supreme Court, which stated that these Great Indian Bustards are getting entangled within these transmission lines and therefore their population is declining. Okay. So recent current affairs, what does it point towards? It says that there is 4th year of captive breeding program. What is captive breeding? Is it in situ or ex situ? Ex situ. It starts as ex situ and then they are released into the wild again. Okay, that means you are going for conducive type of environment so that these populations can be increased and then they are directly released into the wild again. Okay, if we go for ex situ further on, then it will lead to domestication of these wild species. Okay, so the recent current affairs says that there have been 2 new chicks that have been hatched, and particularly in the conservation breeding center of Rajasthan. Okay, where in 2020 it was less than 150. Now the population, the captive population in this center has grown to 70. Okay, while these figures are not that important, this graph can be something that can be very, very useful for our understanding. Okay. Now about Great Indian Bustard. First of all, it is India's most critically endangered. We have seen this is CEGIB. We have to remember it like this. Okay, always try to have this IUCN status as a prefix to the species. Okay, then it is also the state bird of Rajasthan. State bird of Rajasthan, it means that we are ascertaining a flagship status to it. Okay, so flagship species for grassland ecosystem health, prefers ecosystem of grasslands. Then there are multiple species of bustards. Okay, this one is the Great Indian Bustard, and these are the other 3 species. What are the other 3 ones? One is Lesser Florican, then you have Bengal Florican, and then you have McQueen's Bustard. Okay, ecology and traits, something that they can ask you. One, they are omnivorous. Okay, they are also among the heaviest flying birds. What do you think is the weight? The weight is approximately 15 to 18 kgs. Okay, so it is a wonder that they can fly. Okay, because of such kind of weight. Then highly vulnerable to power line collisions. This one single line tells us how the environmental goals, 2 goals are there. One, we are talking about biodiversity. The second, we are talking about climate change. How do we counter the effects of climate change? By switching over to the renewable sources of energy. Okay, so these two goals collide with each other. Okay, one of the reasons when we talk about the anatomy of Great Indian Bustard is that they lack frontal vision. Frontal vision they lack, but they have a good peripheral vision. What is the difference between the two? The difference is that, yes, they are not able to see what kind of transmission lines are coming in their path. Okay, so they can't see ahead, but they can see on the sides. It is because their eyes are located on the sides. Eyes are sideways. That is why they have a good peripheral vision, but they don't have a good frontal vision. Okay, one of the major reasons that they are vulnerable to power line collisions. Okay, and now distribution and conservation status. Where all are they found? So from this map, this is a previous map that was in 2018. It came forward. So from here also we can gauge where all they can be found. One is in Rajasthan. Maximum population is there in Rajasthan. Preferably, what was the habitat that they prefer? Grasslands. Okay, so I can say, what are grasslands? Grasslands are an ecotone between forests and deserts. This is an ecotone. Okay, so I can find them in semi-arid and arid areas. So even if I have to guess, Rajasthan, adjacent Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka. These areas. Okay, even in these parts you have Western Ghats, and this part is your rain shadow zone. Okay, IUCN Red List we have covered. Critically endangered sites, Appendix 1. CMS, this is for migratory species. This is your Bonn Convention. Okay, Convention on Migratory Species talks about Appendix 1, and under WPA they are again in Schedule 1. Okay. So this is something that is a part of our static part. First, Project GIB, when was it installed? So we have seen this map. We have seen already that this was the status of GIBs in India. 100 GIBs were there in Rajasthan, 25 in Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh locally extinct, Maharashtra only 1. Okay, Andhra Pradesh 6, Karnataka 6. So this was the map in 2018. So in 2018 we realized that we have to go for a project that was launched by the Ministry of Environment along with the Rajasthan Forest Department. Okay, so it was a joint initiative. It also included WII. What is WII? Wildlife Institute of India. Okay, so these three bodies, joint initiative. So key measures, one is IDWH. This scheme, again correlating with evil quartet, we understand that the primary most reason is that habitat degradation or habitat fragmentation. Because of this, we find that there would be decline in population. What is the main reason for habitat degradation here? Power transmission lines. And citing this, we included them in the integrated development of wildlife habitats. How many species are there in integrated development of wildlife habitats? There are 3 schemes under this. Okay, what are those 3 schemes? One is we talk about protected areas. Okay, whatever protected area networks we have. Secondly, we are also trying to conserve the species that are outside protected areas. We realize that it might not be possible to just conserve them in the national parks, wildlife sanctuaries and conservation reserves, community reserves. Apart from that, there is another component, and that is your SRP. What is SRP? Species Recovery Program. Species Recovery Program. So under Species Recovery Program, you have 22 species. Okay, very, very important from exam point of view. So all of this list is something that you should prepare. How many mammals are there? Or marine mammals under this? There are 2. One is dugong. This is your marine mammal, and second is dolphin. Both of them are IUCN status, both of them endangered. Endangered. All types of dolphins are endangered. Okay. What types of dolphins do we have? Gangetic dolphin is there, Irrawaddy is there, and then Indus dolphin is there. Okay. So what was the focus? Focus was on habitat protection. First, always habitat protection, then population recovery and threat mitigation, because we realize that species will have different kinds of threat levels and different reasons for their threats also. Then we have captive breeding program. Captive breeding program. Do you remember we talked about captive breeding program in one more case? It was in vulture case. Okay, vulture safe zones. We talk about vulture, and particularly in Pinjore, Haryana. For this, captive breeding program is there. Breeding center was established in 2019, and this is a part of your PYQ, that the location is in Desert National Park, Jaisalmer. This is again in Rajasthan. This is also a PYQ. Okay. In previous year question, I think in 2020, they have asked you whether Desert National Park extends over 2 districts or more districts. Okay. Again, the collaboration is between these 3 bodies: Ministry, Wildlife Institute of India, and Rajasthan Forest Department. Objective again, build a captive population and eventually release birds into the wild. I think it was in the last current affairs that we talked about that if you go on for captive breeding, you will have to, sooner or later, you will have to release them back into the wild. Otherwise, it will lead to domestication. Okay. Next is National Chambal Sanctuary. This is again, the theme is biodiversity plus conservation. Okay. National Chambal Sanctuary. Again, a previous year question was asked. So now what has happened is, Supreme Court has intervened. They have taken a suo motu cognizance. What does this mean? On their own account, they have taken such kind of indication that there has been rampant organized illegal sand mining. Actors involved, sand mafia. Okay. We remember we talked about crocodiles, crocodilian species of India. Ghadial, salt water, and magar. Good. Okay. What about ghadial? Like, are they found in salt water or are they found in the fresh water? Fresh water. Okay, these are freshwater species. Secondly, what is the IUCN status? Critically endangered. Very good. Okay. So why they are important? First, direct threat to riverine ecosystem stability. So you realize that one of the reasons that we go for crocodilian species is understanding that these species are, what kind of blood do they have? Warm blood or cold blood? Cold-blooded. Cold-blooded. So from this reason, I understand that they will come out in the and bask in the sun. Okay, they bask in the sun. Also, they breed. Okay, that means their eggs can be found in the sand. And if you remove this sand, if the sand mafia comes in and goes for taking out the sand and using it for construction purpose because of the lower cost, then they will be declining in population. Again, we have to go for captive breeding in these cases also. Okay. So why important? First, direct threat to riverine ecosystem stability. If you remove sand, then you will find that rivers will have fast flowing waters. Okay. Second, destruction of critical nesting habitats. That means the nesting of eggs. Okay. Which one is more ferocious? Is ghadial a shy animal or an aggressive animal? This is shy. Okay. Yes. And also ghadial feeds on what? Is it an opportunistic feeder or is it a fish specialist? Fish specialist. Okay. This is a fish specialist. Other two are opportunistic feeders. That means they will eat anything. Okay. Now, from this news, what is important for us is first to understand National Chambal Sanctuary. So in geography also you would have read about Chambal River. Okay, Chambal River is the tributary of which river? Yamuna. Good. Yamuna's tributary. And this is particularly important when we talk about the biodiversity conservation because it lies at the tri-junction, this part, tri-junction of which states? Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. These three states. Okay. So you will have National Chambal Sanctuary there. It is also called as National Chambal Ghadial Wildlife Sanctuary. That is the reason that we are paying more attention to Ghadial. Okay. Acha, Ghadial, can they be called as an indicator species? Right? We have in the earlier current affairs, we have also seen that their population is rising. Okay. And under which program? Namami Gange program. Okay. It was also included in Ganga Action Plan 1985. Indicator species. That tells me about the ecosystem health of the river. So one of the India's most ecologically significant riverine protected areas. Area is 5,400 kilometers square and it covers 600 kilometer stretch of Chambal River. Okay. Next, biodiversity and conservation status. Okay, there are multiple species that are there in this National Chambal Sanctuary, but the ones that are very, very important for us are two. One is Ghadial and the second is Gangetic dolphin. Gangetic dolphin. Okay. 90% of world's wild Ghadial population, 90% critically endangered. Okay. And significant population of Ganges river dolphin, this is endangered. Okay. So these also prefer what? Fresh water. What about dolphins? Dolphins, Irrawaddy dolphins may prefer salt water, but these prefer fresh water. Okay. So two of them. Acha, which amongst all the crocodilian species is the longest? Ghadial is the longest. Okay, this is longest. What kind of snout does it have? We discussed this. Ghadas on the tip. They have mud pot. Mud pot kind of a structure on the tip of their snout. This is the longest snout they have. Okay, and it is not broad. One of the reasons that they are shy also, that they will not become a man-eater. Other key species are also marsh crocodile. Magar is also found in National Chambal Sanctuary. So linked initiative 1975 becomes very, very important for this year's exam. 1975, this means 50 years completed. Okay, 50 years completed. And recently we also had this news about Ghadial, indicator species, again their population with respect to National Chambal Sanctuary, particularly in the sand mafia case. So this becomes an important hot topic for the prelims questions. Conservation status. So it is not yet a Ramsar site, but it is a proposed Ramsar site. And second, it is also a candidate for UNESCO World Heritage Site. Okay, we have two types of heritage sites. One is natural and the other is cultural. Okay, so it is a natural heritage site. It is a candidate for that. It is also an important bird area for migratory birds. Okay. We have, within this project, we have captive breeding. And then we also have, or you could say grow and release. Grow and release or rear and release technique. Now, ecological uniqueness. One is one of this Chambal National Chambal Sanctuary. It is one of the India's cleanest and least polluted rivers. And I can say that Ghadials as well as dolphins, Both of them are indicator species that realize that if I go on polluting their aquatic ecosystem, then I will find that the population will decline. Supports a lotic system. What do you mean by lotic? Flowing. And the other is lentic. Okay. Supports a lotic system, deep channels, sandbanks, and ravines. Something that can be asked in your geography part also. Okay, this is your badland topography. Badland topography, that you will find that there is gully erosion, huge gully erosion. Okay, threats, challenges, we have seen illegal sand mining, destroying nesting grounds, both harmful for ghadial as well as turtles. Turtles as well. Difference between turtles and tortoise. Carapace is different. Which one is a greater swimmer? Turtles. Which one is greater in size? Tortoise or turtles? Tortoise. Okay, which one is land dwelling? Tortoise. Which one is the largest in size? Leatherback turtle. Very good. Okay. So next, water extraction. Okay. First, you are going for habitat degradation. Two components are there. One, sand, that is essential for your cold-blooded crocodilian species. And second, you are also going for water extraction. Remember one more thing that we had discussed, that they require fast-flowing waters or slow-moving waters. Slow-moving waters, because it is energetically expensive for them to negotiate these fast-flowing rivers. Then you have illegal fishing. So prey base is also depleted. All of this. Okay. Here you have to connect it with the reasoning of them being fish specialist. Okay. Now the next topic is also from biodiversity and conservation. So recently we have seen that while the conservation process has already been there, there has been reasons because of which that there has been a considerable death, significant death in the tiger population. So as per NTCA, what is NTCA? Yes, and it is under which act? Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Okay, so this means this is a statutory body, NTCA. So 166 tiger deaths in 2025, and the highest has occurred in the state of Maharashtra. State of Maharashtra. Okay, it was pointed out by one of the ministers. So what are the concerns? The concerns is poaching, habitat degradation, and HWC. What is this? HWC, human-wildlife conflict. Human-wildlife conflict. Okay. Understand this whenever you write, if you write your answers, whenever there is habitat degradation or habitat fragmentation, the eventual thing that would happen is HWC itself. Why? Because you are destroying their habitats, then they will move into the territories of humans. And once they do that, there will be a conflict. And that is antithetical to the conservation process. Okay, what are the causes of tiger mortality? First of all, when we talk about Maharashtra, there has been 41 tiger deaths. So first of all, with respect to prelims, we must understand how many such kind of important tiger landscapes are there. So you have Tadoba Andheri Tiger Reserve, Melghat Tiger Reserve, Pench Tiger Reserve. This is also there in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, and Sahyadri Tiger Reserve. Okay. Now, when we talk about the tiger populations outside the forest, this state has one of the largest tiger population outside of the central Indian forests. Okay. Always competing activities will be there, and particularly with respect to development as well as change in land use. From forest, you are going towards, suppose say, agriculture. Okay. So causes of tiger mortality. First, poaching plus wildlife crime. Poaching plus wildlife crime. So tiger parts that are sold for traditional medicine, and also they are a part of this illegal wildlife network. Second, habitat loss and fragmentation. We have seen this multiple times this kind of a structure and you go for linear infrastructures. So you will have multiple issues. Okay. Mining, highways, railways, you will have accidents. You will have genetic flow will be stopped. That means I can also observe inbreeding depression. Much more susceptible to diseases. Okay. Even easier for the poaching or hunting. Okay. Then human wildlife conflict. When you destroy their habitat, then they will move out of the forest, they will move out of the protected areas. Secondly, they are also a territorial animal. Okay, that means they are going to go in search of food as well as territory. Food as well as territory. And because there is such kind of a conflict, there will be something called as retaliatory killings. Okay, if you do not have local communities on board, then they are going for killings of these tiger. Then you have natural causes. One is territorial fights between the tigers, diseases, and then old age and starvation. How many tiger reserves are there? We can come to that. We'll come to that in the next slide. Okay. First, government measures, just a revision of your static part. First is anti-poaching surveillance. There is special tiger protection force. Remember, you can correlate this, that we must have, whenever there is poaching involved, forest departments usually don't have a standing force with them. Okay. And that is the reason that you need to have certain manpower. Like we talked, remember we talked about in the Indian Rhino Vision, IRV 2020. Okay. Similarly, we have anti-poaching surveillance and this special tiger protection force. This is not there in every state. Okay. If you check, I think they are present in 13 states. Okay. As well as dog squads. Then technological monitoring. One of the very, very important thing is M-stripes. That is monitoring system for tigers' intensive protection and ecological status. Something that was asked in your previous year question also. While it was easily guessable, but still we should be knowing of this. This was there in 2008, launched in 2008. M-stripes, okay. Which two authorities? One is NTCA and the other is WII. NTCA plus WII went for this M-stripes. Then you have rescue and treatment infrastructure, rapid rescue units. If there has been territorial fights, if there has been some natural causes, then you have rescue units as well as transit treatment centers. Fourth is camera surveillance that we have seen, that is also useful for your estimation of tiger sensors. Okay, camera traps, mobile enabled tracking systems. They monitor any kind of suspicious movements also. That means if there are poachers who are going to hunt the tiger population, then such kind of movements can be recorded and then your special tiger protection force can be deployed. Okay, now we have the tiger conservation framework. What all things do we have in the conservation effort that we have put forward for tiger? Tiger is, what is IUCN status for tiger? Not critically endangered, endangered. End tiger, remember this word. End tiger. Okay. Or you can remember integer. Okay. So first, Project Tiger 1973, right after WPA, correlate all of these facts. WPA 72 always having an understanding that we had 40,000 population and then it reduced to 1.8k, and therefore we thought that let us go for Project Tiger 1973. And what was the objective? That we must maintain viable populations. Viable populations can be maintained on protecting the habitats first. Habitats. Secondly, also ensuring that they have necessary prey populations as well. Prey populations must also be there, okay, viable populations. So you have habitat protection, anti-poaching measures, scientific monitoring, and community participation is also there. That means that we have a coexistence model, and this directly relates to tiger reserves. Tiger reserves. Tiger reserves, remember the degree of protection that we have? We have two types of concentric circle. One is the core zone and the other is buffer zone. This is your core, this is your buffer zone. Okay, this is your forested land, this is a combination of your non-forested as well as forested land. Okay, can people live inside the core zone? This is inviolate area. However, there are certain types of rights are derived from which act? Forest Rights Act, okay, 2006. Now NTCA, again statutory body under WPA 72, WPA Schedule 1, this was asked, Schedule 1. Not directly, but they were asking in comparison. It is also a national animal. Which one? Which subspecies of tiger? Bengal tiger. Bengal tiger. Scientific name is Panthera tigris tigris. Question: are all subspecies existing of tiger? Or there are some extinct subspecies also? How many subspecies are there of tiger? 8. 3 are extinct. Okay. Which ones are extinct? Caspian tiger, Bali, and Javan tigers. What is the approximate population of tiger as per the latest census of 2022? 3,000 plus. Okay, that was in 2022, है ना? That means the next census will be in 2026, and therefore this also becomes important for our exam. How many tiger reserves are there in India? 58. 58 recognized tiger reserves. Okay, we talked about the largest one. They asked you about critical tiger habitat, that is the core zone. They asked you about tiger reserve. Which one has the largest critical tiger habitat amongst all the tiger reserves? The answer is, in Andhra Pradesh you have Nagarjuna Sagar, Sri Sailam. Okay. And inspired from that question we had discussed in class, which one has the smallest area? It is in Assam, Orang. This is just to understand how the populations have differed. Earlier, between Madhya Pradesh and Karnataka, there was close competition before 2022. The previous census was in 2018. Census is held every 4 years. Every 4 years you will have a tiger census. Okay, in 2018 you will find that the competition was very, very close, 524 and 526 between Madhya Pradesh and Karnataka. But now the tiger population in 2022, it has been estimated that it is 785 in Madhya Pradesh, 563 in Karnataka, and then you have Uttarakhand. For our exam purpose, these two are very, very important, and this is a close third as compared to Karnataka. Okay. So, from exam point of view, tiger reserves in which areas are important? In MP as well as in Karnataka. This should be, you can memorize. Okay. Next, next again, this is again under biodiversity. This is particularly a feature. Oh, okay, a feature. That is gynandromorph crab in Silent Valley National Park. Okay. So there are two types. Okay, one can be a hermaphrodite, the other can be gyn andromorph. What does this mean? Gyn is for the female sex, andro is for the male sex. Okay, this means that this kind of a crab that is known as Vela carli. Okay, this means that it has both kind of traits, this can be male and this can be female, and this exists within one individual, both of them, both of these kind of traits. Okay, so both female as well as male biological traits are contained in the same individual. When we talk about, there is competing concept of hermaphrodite. This means that they have both, these kind of individuals will have both kind of sexual organs that are present in male as well as females. So this has been discovered in Silent Valley. Okay, so for our exam purpose, Silent Valley again becomes very, very important. Okay, Central Western Ghats, high regional endemism. We always talk about endemic species. And then ecological specificity. Ecological specificity is there. Why? Because they are found in a particular kind of an environment, and that is in the tree holes. Okay, all these specimens that were found, they were in the tree holes. So therefore, what was the suggestion? That there might be habitat linked biological phenomenon. Biological phenomenon, why? Because we are talking about sex determination. Okay, that means what will be the gender of a particular individual, that can be ascertained when we talk about the habitat. That means it is influenced by the habitat. Okay. Next, you have Silent Valley National Park. Within this, because it is important, it has been in news. First thing is, this is Silent Valley National Park. This is nested in Nilgiri Hills, or you could say it is in Kerala. Okay. There was an important movement also, Silent Valley National Park movement. There was movement also. Nilgiri Hills, Kerala. It is also a part of your Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. Is it a part of your biodiversity hotspot? Yes. Western Ghats. Okay. How many biodiversity hotspots are there in India? 4. Okay. 4, and one of which is Western Ghats. Sundaland. Which else? Then you have Himalayas, and then you have Burma, Indo-Burma. Western Ghats along with Sri Lanka. Okay, this is the whole coverage of biodiversity hotspot. What is the definition of biodiversity hotspot, and it was given by which organization? Given by Conservation International. Conservation International, that is an international NGO based in America. Okay. What does it say? Talks about two numbers. One is 1500, the other is 70%. 1500 vascular plants must be there, 70% loss of habitat. Now, what is the climate? What is the climate like? Again, we know from the knowledge of our geography, there are orographic rains, therefore there will be a presence of tropical evergreen rainforest. What is the river that is flowing through the Silent Valley National Park? It is a tributary called Kunthi Puza. It is a tributary of which river? Bharat Puza. Okay, Bharat Puza. And this is the second longest river in Kerala. Second longest river. Okay, sometimes they will ask you which of the following rivers flow into the Arabian Sea, or which of the following rivers flows into the Bay of Bengal. So this is the second longest river, Bharat Puza, that flows through Kerala. The first is Periyar. Okay, so Kunthi Puza is a tributary of Bharat Puza. Flagship species, lion-tailed macaque. What is the IUCN status for this? Also appeared in your PYQ. Endangered. EN. Okay. So Silent Valley National Park was declared as such in 1984. 1984. One of the oldest. Next we have the convention. Okay, this is your international convention. This is important from the point of view, mainly in prelims, they will ask you about what convention, what are the things that are contained, what are the kind of protocols that you have. So you remember CBD, Convention on Biological Diversity. ठीक है, Convention on Biological Diversity. Try to revise Aichi, biodiversity targets, and then as a change to this, because this was a massive failure. So we had what kind of biodiversity target? Kunming, Montreal Biodiversity Framework, that is 30 by 30. Okay. So it talks about, this CBD talks about Nagoya Protocol. Which other protocol is there under this CBD? Cartagena Protocol. Okay, Cartagena talks about biosafety. है ना? It talks about biosafety. Nagoya Protocol, on the other hand, will talk about access to genetic resources first, and fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from their utilization to the CBD. This is a protocol to the CBD. When we talk about CBD, we are talking about three things. One thing is that biosafety must be there. Second, there must be sustainable utilization of resources. Thirdly, access must be given and there must be fair and equitable sharing. This is based on the principle that resources equals to sovereignty. Okay, that means a foreign company cannot come in your country, utilize your knowledge and patent it. Okay, so these three things are there. One is conservation of biological diversity. Second, sustainable use of biological diversity. Third, fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from the utilization of biological diversity. Now, when we talk about biological diversity, it is talked about at three different levels. What are the three different levels? GSE, that is your genetic component, species and ecosystem. That is how we define biodiversity. That means conservation of biological diversity is not just limited to species, it is also limited, it is also going up until the depth of genes at the genetic levels also. Now, Biological Diversity Act. So we ratified CBD, legally binding. Since it is legally binding and we have ratified it, so therefore there must be a conversion into a domestic act, and that comes in the form of Biological Diversity Act, enacted in 2002. Okay. So who is responsible for implementation? The national focal point is given to the ministry itself. The competent national authority is NBA. This is your National Biodiversity Authority. So just like we have three-tier governance, we have three-tier governance in the biodiversity framework as well. One is NBA, then the second level comes at State Biodiversity Boards or UTBCs. UT is Union Territory. Okay, and at the third level, you will have Biodiversity Management Committees. So we talk about community participation. Community participation, and that happens at the third level. So as a progress of ascertaining the sovereignty and the ownership of such kind of resources at genetic, species or ecosystem levels, we have said that communities will also own it. This kind of a traditional knowledge is something that empowers the communities that have held it for a long generations. So this report that has come forward, it says that there are 2.76 lakh BMCs that have been established. What does this mean? It means that biodiversity conservation is now being participated by the local communities. It is decentralized and participatory biodiversity governance. Okay, just like your Panchayati Raj institutions, just like your urban local bodies. Okay. So you can see this is the structure, hierarchy. Okay, again static question. National Biodiversity Authority approves if there is a foreign company, who wants to come and access the genetic resources in your country, then who will be the governing authority? Foreign companies coming to your country and wants to access the genetic resources. So it will be National Biodiversity Authority. Okay, if there is an Indian company who wants to utilize the traditional knowledge for its commercial use, Indian company, then state biodiversity boards. Okay, local people who want to utilize it, no, they don't require any kind of permission. Okay, it is their knowledge itself, right? So BMCs, what are BMCs responsible for? They also maintain something known as PBR. What is PBR? People's Biodiversity Register. People's Biodiversity Register, because they will document. Will they document? TK as well as medicinal knowledge. What is TK? Traditional knowledge. Okay. So implementation of protocol, national focal point, we have seen 2.76 lakh BMCs established, decentralization, participatory biodiversity governance. Then there is much more statistics that is given so that we can share our progress towards this protocol. So access and compliance mechanism. Okay, so mandatory PIC. What is PIC? Prior informed consent. Prior informed consent. This is something that is mandatory in all the cases. In all the cases. Okay. This is a statistic that you don't need to remember the exact number, but this thing is important. Okay. There is something known as IRCC. What is IRCC? It is internationally recognized certificate of compliance, that we have complied with mandatory PIC in all the cases. Okay. So as a success towards this program, we have seen that out of the total global IRCCs that have been included, we have the 60% proportion in it. Okay. So this points towards compliance, and compliance points towards the effectiveness even at the decentralized level. The second is benefit sharing. Benefit sharing, because local communities, if they do not benefit from their TK, how much amount of money? Because one of the pillars was access and benefit sharing. Fair and equitable benefit sharing. So monetary sharing, $34.6 million. Out of that, $16.83 million, that means almost 50%, was dispersed to the local communities, BMCs and stakeholders. Okay. So this points towards community-based conservation models. Okay. Conservation models can be successful only if they involve the communities. Individual benefit claimers 210, and BMCs that have benefited is 10,440. Okay. So this community participation and equity, again fair, equitable benefit sharing. Local communities, they are recognized as the benefit claimers, and inclusion of traditional knowledge holders as well as conservers. BMCs and People's Biodiversity Registers, these are also there, these are also maintained as a part of honoring the conventions, honoring the provisions under the convention. Okay. Digital governance implementation is supported by this e-filing portal, access benefit sharing e-filing portal, and ABS clearinghouse and digital traceability systems. What is digital? Why do we need traceability? Because we need to ascertain where does this knowledge come from. Okay. And we also hold this, the world's first IRCC, that is in 2050. Okay. So this completes our current affairs. Let us do, there are questions. This is in 2017, see. So they are just asking, if you want to see gharials in their natural habitats, which one of the following is the best place to visit? Which one? Chambal River, है ना? Chambal River. B. Okay. Next. Again 2017. The term M stripes is sometimes seen in the news in the context of maintenance of tiger reserves. Maintenance of tiger reserves. Can you guess it without even knowing it? Stripes, right? Stripes. Okay. So this completes the current affairs. Okay. Thank you.